The strike that shocked the nation. In the early morning hours of June 19, 2025, while most Israelis slept under the uneasy silence of a fragile ceasefire, air raid sirens suddenly wailed across the southern and central regions of the country. Within seconds, those alarms gave way to fire, smoke, and chaos as Iran launched its most devastating direct assault on Israeli civilian infrastructure to date. At 3:41 a.m., a Sejjil-class ballistic missile tore through the skies above Beersheba and slammed directly into Soroka Medical Center, one of the largest hospitals in the southern region. The strike triggered mass casualties, hospital infrastructure collapse, a suspected chemical leak, and the deaths of several patients already in intensive care. At least 80 individuals were critically wounded, including several members of the hospital staff. Simultaneously, Iranian drones and precision rockets struck residential towers in Tel Aviv and Haifa, damaging high-rise buildings, destroying civilian vehicles, and injuring an additional 191 people across city centers. Eyewitnesses described the horror as worse than anything since 2006, with children screaming, windows exploding inward, and emergency responders digging civilians out from collapsed stairwells by flashlight. Cross-thought Israel responds. By dawn, Israeli fighter jets were en route to Iranian airspace. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, conducted a massive counter-operation targeting Iranian nuclear, military, and logistics infrastructure. Key targets reportedly hit include the Iraq Heavy Water Facility, linked to Iran's nuclear program, a military communications complex in Tehran's western zone, a hospital campus in Isfahan, which Israeli intel claimed was used to house IRGC personnel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in a nationally televised speech, called the strike on Soroka Hospital a red line burned into memory, and declared that those who target our hospitals will see their bunkers crumble. World map conflict context and escalation. This direct Iranian strike marks a dangerous new phase in a war that had previously focused on proxy battles, covert assassinations, and tit-for-tat bombings in Syria, Iraq, and the Red Sea. Iran has claimed its actions were retaliation for earlier Israeli airstrikes on convoy routes and a suspected nuclear site in Yos province. But the international community sees this latest barrage as a sharp escalation and a violation of international humanitarian law. Globe with Meridian's global reaction. Russia called the situation deeply destabilizing and warned against US or NATO intervention. The United States condemned the attack but urged both sides to avoid full-scale war. The United Nations Security Council convened for an emergency session. China and the European Union have called for de-escalation and offered to host Geneva peace talks, which are already underway as of this writing. Compass what's next? Israel has placed its entire air defense grid on Level 5 alert, the highest since the 2021 Gaza conflict. Hospitals across the nation are now fortified, and hundreds of thousands of civilians remain in shelters. Iran's leadership, through Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian, has stated that diplomatic paths remain open, but only if Israel ends its retaliatory strikes and stops provoking a regional war. Meanwhile, US President Trump has authorized limited military posturing in the Persian Gulf and is considering strikes on Iran's further enrichment plant if escalation continues. Dove remembering the victims. This tragic chapter in modern Middle Eastern history has already left deep scars on both nations. In Beersheba, Tel Aviv, and Haifa, hundreds now mourn the injured, the displaced, and the broken piece of yet another long night of war.